I'm Scott with the Plumbers Union and HVAC, covering San Mateo County, business agent as well.
I'm Anthony Urbina, sheet metal worker, local 104, business agent in San Mateo County, and also the dispatcher for the West Bay, both San Francisco and San Mateo County.
John Dalrymple. I work as a consultant for the mechanical crafts and occasionally the iron workers. And I just started working with the San Mateo team.
Great. I'll jump in. My name is Jake Albini. I'm the Senior Director of Construction and Development for Harvest Properties. I lead the construction team at Harvest and then assist across the board on our various projects that are in entitlement or going through permitting.
Thanks everyone, and apologies I can't jump on the video today, but yeah, Kevin Choi, Associate Director of Development, Harvest. I lead up kind of all the entitlement work and sometimes some of our pre-dev stuff as well.
Great. So maybe we could just start us off of, what any updates from Harvest, and we'll kind of go from there. And I know Kevin, some of our team was able to meet you in person, you and Preston in person at the meeting, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I can jump in first, Jake. So obviously appreciate you guys showing up at the meeting. I think any engagement as from where we stand today is always good when we're speaking to Planning Commission and our City Council. So I think, as you guys well know, that project was approved, and it did go past its appeal period as well. And so that means that we're starting kind of the pre-development phase, which I think Jake can give some more details on. But yeah, so that kind of concludes First and B's entitlement process, and now we're looking forward to continuing and pushing that further forward. So yeah, and then I'll just quickly update on the Bespoke project as well. Just chatting right now is Bespoke, for those who don't know, is our other project, kind of bounded railroad, 4th, 5th, and B in downtown San Mateo as well. That's a public-private partnership, and unfortunately, I don't really have a whole lot of progress to report on that one. We're still kind of in the legal negotiations with the city right now, making sure everything's, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. So hopefully we'll have some movement on that here soon. I think, we're moving well on the project plans side of things and the environmental analysis, getting that kind of close to buttoned up. But the legal documentation is significant for a variety of reasons, and so that's taken some more time than normal.
Hey, I'm sorry, I apologize for being so literally this week new, but what's the public aspect of the partnership?
So the city of San Mateo is contributing their land for the project, and so the blocks again, so Railroad and 4th, if that corner you take a look at Google Maps, you'll see a parking lot that's owned by the city of San Mateo, and so this development is in partnership with the city, and we are constructing affordable units on the city's parcel and commercial office on kind of everything else, with some retail on the ground floor.
And then is the Prometheus, who's your affordable builder?
Builder or developer? We don't have
developer.
a builder.
I'm sorry, developer.
Yeah, no worries. So we're partnered with Alta Housing on that project. So that Bespoke project is a trio of us, Prometheus, and Alta Housing.
Got it.
Yeah, because as you're well aware, affordable housing is a little bit different of a world. The financing is, I say my financing is complicated, and I go out to maybe one equity partner and a bank. I think they go out to like 20 different people or something like that.
That's
and put it all together. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So,
Thanks for that, Kevin. Jake, you have anything to add?
No, thanks again for your presence at the first M.E.p planning commission meeting. Gosh, what was that, a couple weeks ago? So yeah, it's exciting. We got our approvals for that. We're now kicking off into our pre-construction phase for that project. So we are engaging contractors for pre-construction services, and we've released our design team to complete a 100% schematic design package. So we're kind of furthering along our drawings. And that, of course, is all precursor to actually moving forward into design development and then construction development or construction drawings and into permitting. So we've gotten the green light from Prometheus, our partner on the job, to move forward into that phase. And it's going to be, depending how quick San Mateo Building Department turns around drawings, this could be a 10, 12, 14-month process to get to approved permits. So we're at the very, top of the first inning here, kicking that all off. So it's exciting, but we got some wood to chop in front of us and get our drawings going and get pricing together and ultimately get some approved permit drawings. So that's where we're at the moment.
Thanks. And have you decided to go with Swinnerton as your GC?
Not at the moment.
Not-
We're gonna go out to several contractors for RFP responses for pre-construction services. So that's TBD, and that's gonna take at least until, gosh, mid-October to make that selection. There's a lot of documentation on this project. Both ourselves at Harvest and Prometheus are very in the weeds. So the RFP was pretty substantial, and it's going to take a good amount of time for those contractors to dig through everything, come up with questions. I got to provide responses. They got to go out to their trades, get pricing, get us back a response. We got to interview them. That's all going to take weeks. So we won't have a contractor selected, I would assume, until mid-October.
And Swinnerton's obviously going to be in the mix. What other GCs are you looking for RFPs from?
Yeah, so we're as we mentioned before, we're kind of shotgunning this out. We're getting a wide range of interest on this project, as you can imagine. So we're going out to quite a few contractors. Some of them are union, some of them are not. Some of them are not signatory. And I would say pricing is only one variable associated with our assessment on their responses. I think qualitatively, there's a whole bunch of other variables that we're going to assess as we get these feedback, these responses to the RFP. But for right now, we're going out to Swinnerton, Build Group, Trubeck, Pancow on the union side, and on the non-union side, we have W.L. Butler, Cody Brock, and Palisade.
And Jake, if I could also just add really quick, the process we're going through right now, while we're asking for a bid, we're not considering this an early GMP or anything like that. It's really looking to get a better understanding of kind of where pricing sits today, because what we're selecting is pre-construction through permits. And there will be another process that happens in the future to select the general contractor for construction. So,
and obviously on this call are all the subcrafts, as you guys are aware, and these are the mechanical crafts, including the sprinkler fitters. So I will say, as we continue our conversations, is trying to figure out, just making sure that there's opportunities throughout the board. How can we be helpful and actually getting even some of these, I think one or two of the non-union GCs that I have never heard about, how they're actually reaching out to our mechanical subcontractors too, which would then put our local members to work on this project. What do you have ideas on maybe putting that in the RFP, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so the RFP has already been issued, and we're collecting questions and comments as we go into this. Or like I mentioned, we're in the early stages here, so
Of course,
we're going to see how. I mean, just being totally transparent, like it's a very detailed RFP. I'd be surprised if a lot of these groups kind of like, we don't have time to go through this and suss through this and
Mhm.
provide a response based on everything you guys want to see as the developer. So I mean, the lists I listed off for you is kind of who we went out to. It'll be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks who's actually interested in responding and how we further those conversations at this point. But within the RFP, there's no indication of, how they need to engage subcontractors. I mean, we're
Of
looking for
course,
a
yeah.
lot of pricing feedback and constructability feedback and scheduling feedback and the whole gamut in terms of how they would address and approach this job. So there's a lot of detail in that regard. But as I mentioned, it's going to be an ongoing conversation with these groups as to who they're approaching for their subcontractors. And I will say we require multiple bids for subs across the board. We're not going to accept just one, so we're going to require them to go out to multiple groups and level those bids across all the scopes and all the trades and put their best foot forward when it comes to their pricing. But yeah, in terms of engaging certain groups, we're not dictating that necessarily.
But you are getting price. Sounds like you are getting pricing on the construction of the project. So
yeah, this is John. So this is part of our RF for pre-construction. We need to engage a contractor to help us through the permitting process, right, and have somebody on board to provide constructability feedback and pricing throughout the next year or so as we go through this process. So this RFP is for pre-construction only, and I will say that this, and as we've written it in the RFP, we made it very clear, just because you get the pre-con, whatever GC gets the pre-construction contract does not guarantee them getting the ultimate job. So we have the flexibility to reprice this when we get further down the road. So to answer your question, this is what we call like a target GMP. So this initial, like, hey guys, you're all interested in this job. Here's all the documentation. Here's the RFP. Please provide based on the drawings we have available now, because we're at like barely a schematic 100%. They go out, get pricing from their subs based on the information we have, and they come and say, okay, we think it's going to cost this. And contractor B will say, we think it costs this, and we think it costs this. So we level all that along with all their experience and their know-how and their creativity in terms of approaching the job. And then based on all that, we will select a pre-con contractor to help us through the course of the pre-development phase. So when we get to finally down the road, we get to like our permits issued, we're confident on what the final design is, we have all the details. At that point, we're going to reprice this whole thing, and it's going to go out to the trades. We're going to have, our drawing packet's going to go from this to this, and there's going to be plenty of information for everyone to price this accurately. So that's going to be where the rubber meets the road a year down the road, where we have our permit drawings and everyone can bid it with all the detail. And that's from there, we'll select who's going to be the contractor on the job for the actual build.
And this is for all the different parts of the project, the affordable.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm referring to First and B. First and B is the first of the projects, which is the 43,000 square foot core and shell office. Yeah. Bespoke is the second one, and that's what Kevin referred to. We still have a lot of issues to get through with this, or not issues, a lot of negotiations to get through with the city and getting that to entitlement approval.
Gotcha.
But one thing just to share on that eventual project, just like so you guys are aware, once we have entitlement, we're going to be moving kind of in separate paths with the affordable housing. It's not that we totally de-link ourselves, because not going into too many details, the projects are to some degree dependent on each other. But there's a garage and a commercial office building and a residential building. Will be leading the charge for the garage and the commercial building, and then Alta Housing would be leading the charge for the affordable housing. Effectively, we're just stepping out of the way there because we're not the experts in that space, and frankly, the only thing we're going to do is mess something up if we try and put ourselves too much into that part of the project. But yeah, so the project we're most focused on now, first to be 42,000 feet, commercial office, retail ground floor, targeting mass timber construction, and have historic. I won't say it's not historic. It just has it looks to the historic design and kind of utilizes that as the basis for its architecture. So it's a brick building, generally speaking, but with mass timber as its structural kind of bones.
And then a lot of the times in my history, whoever you're selecting at kind of this next pre-construction stage, usually since they're so in tune with the project, kind of have a one up when it comes out to the actual bid, right? So there's what I'm getting at is it would be great if you're getting a lot of questions and if you're saying, hey, who are some great local mechanical contractors or electrical contractors at this point that would be able to put San Mateoans to work here. If you're having that feedback back and forth, please reach out to us. We will get you the ones that at least are the local and use the local members. Because I know we had some offline conversations too, and it sounds like everyone's excited for the project. But our concern is the same thing, Jake, as we've gone. Our goal is to put our local members to work, right? And that is just still our goal. That's why we're talking, seeing what we can do. So.
10-4, I hear you loud and clear, Michael. All good there. Yeah, if anything comes up along those lines of how we can leverage local trades, specifically along the trades that are on the call, we definitely bring that up.
And just if I can add, I know you mentioned it's like so the person that's selected for the pre-construction through permitting kind of has a leg up. I don't think I could necessarily refute that. I think it probably is more likely that that group has accessed and just they've been in the deal, so all of the information that goes to them is going to be going out to everyone else. So there's not like we're not giving different information to different groups, but just having lived it, right, they might have a better understanding of it. We run competitive processes kind of throughout the project. It's very, very, very seldom that we just have one group and we say, yep, you're the one, we're going. We have to run kind of competitive processes because, as I mentioned, right, we have stakeholders in our project, right, that we have to be kind of fiduciarily compliant to them and do our due diligence and make sure that we're running that competitive process. So yes, does the group that is selected for pre-construction have potentially a better understanding of the project? Yeah, I think that's probably true. But at the end of the day, when it's time to go to construction, we run a new competitive process, probably with a smaller group, because at that point we'll have better information. We'll have been talking with groups. We'll know who's kind of good in that space and is legitimately interested in the project, right? And we'll go out to a more select group at that point. Would probably be the plan to select a different, or not necessarily a different, but a contractor for construction.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes
I
sense.
totally agree with that. Yeah, Michael, you're right. They're kind of in the pole position to get the job, but as Kevin alluded to, we don't take anything for granted, and market conditions can change. Other contractors can get hungrier. I will say, I won't give you details, but we have switched out contractors from pre-con to actual GMP contracts before here in the Bay Area. So we don't let anyone get lazy, and we are constantly competitive. We want to see those numbers come in, the best bang for our buck. So no guarantee that pre-con contractor is going to get it.
Okay. All right. Well, and we'll try to keep right to our time. I appreciate the update there. Yeah, I think speaking for 104, Tom said he had some good conversations with Preston and Kevin while you guys were there, so that was good. And I think John Medina on this call met you in person, Kevin, right, and Preston. So yep. that was great. Does anyone have any other questions?
No, I think let us know. We'll obviously be watching. When if Bespoke gets in through the entitlements, and once you guys get your everything together on that, we'll be probably looking to attend those as well. So hopefully we've got something going on by then where we can be in favor of these projects and just bring our support from the community and our membership to these projects, whether at council or at the planning commission level.
I have just one question, Jake, just for my own clarity. It sounds to me like you really kind of have a hands-off approach in terms of, what your guidance is to potential contractors, kind of giving them the autonomy to do what they need to come up with pricing, right? And creative solutions or anything, but something that may not be a heavy lift. I mean, is it out of the question to suggest engagement with the local trades when they're putting this stuff together, just to show that your organization is considering that? Or is that something that you're completely leaving to the organic process?
Yeah, I would say, I guess just being totally transparent, the contractors we listed off, specifically the signatory to all the different union trades, they're gonna most likely reach out to your groups. I don't see why they wouldn't, because that is their bailiwick. That's what they do. Obviously, for the non-signatory groups, I can't force them to do that. I can suggest it, but they're not. That's just not how they operate on their side of the fence. So I don't think there's like a huge concern that, and you guys tell me like if you've run into this before with like some of the bigger union groups I listed off, but is it more of an issue to go after to pursue the local, like it's kind of what I'm hearing from Michael over the past several months, is like your local teams to
The local members, like, and I think one thing, I don't know, Jake, we'll throw this out there. You think it would be helpful if we just provide you a list of, hey, these are the recommended contractors that we know use San Mateo residents?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
that way,
I'd be happy. That's a great idea. I'd be happy to pass that along. Like, hey, we've been talking to the unions. If you can include these groups in your pricing or in your outreach, that would be awesome. That would be a very succinct way to do that. So yeah, that'd be great if you could provide me a list.
Yeah, I think one of the things when what we try to do when we have build these relationships is, the guys when they send that list, these are contractors that they know do this type of work, that they know that they're going to be going to get strong competitive bids, because they have an understanding of what their workflow is like. I mean, sitting out a bid package, somebody has enough work for 3 years is not necessarily helpful. So I think that's if sitting that both to the union and non-union folks that you did send the bid packages to, sometimes you'll have the non-union reach out. You're right, though, they tend to have their group, but also the list will have the latest name and contact, right? So sometimes those things change, and so it's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
so that's something we can do, Jake, to make it a little easier on you. I think if the four of us, we wrap our heads around, hey, we'll get you some good electrical contractors, plumbing contractors, sprinkler, sheet metal. And that way, for this specific project, hey, this is the type of work, and we will call them saying, hey, this is the project here. If you're not, we're going to provide your name, estimator information to one of the developers that we're talking with. When you are reached out by a GC, provide them a bid, right? So that's something we can do. That way they're on the same page, that the first M.E.p project actually, okay, we're ready. We know about that project, so we're doing that on our end.
Yeah. No, that I would be happy to do that. Of course, I can't guarantee that any of those groups will be selected, but we can at least give them, your take on who do you think the best groups are to perform some of that work. And I'd be happy to pass that along and be like, guys, as you price this out, please keep these groups in mind. These have been vetted by the local trades and recommended, so they're worth at least a call and some vetting here to get some bids from.
And to be honest with you, it's just building relationship. They might use them next time too.
Totally.
So
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if a lot of these groups weren't already on these GC's list. I doubt that these are going to be brand new to them too. But I think I'd be happy to help in the essence of our relationship. I'd be happy to pass those on to the contractors we're talking to.
Okay, great. Well, we're at our 30-minute mark. It seems like every time there's more good information, we can keep this rolling. So, with that, I looking like there's no fellow last questions. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Kevin, and our team. Can we stay on for like 2 more minutes?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
Jake,
good
Kevin.
day.
Appreciate it.
Good seeing you guys. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Well, I figured it'd be good to have first time Scott Beals met John Dalrymple, first time Max has met John Dalrymple, and first time Anthony's. But I'm assuming Mark and Scott have gave you guys a heads up. You guys saw my email that I sent
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But
It's a surprise here.
Welcome, John. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Look forward to leveraging your experience. And
Gosh,
you know.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're well on their way on this one, right? And they all the buzzwords about providing the stakeholders and providing value. So they're one of the things why I texted Michael about this whole idea of you guys sitting in the list. One way it sort of helps you in that you send this list in, let's say, Scott, only one of them ends up seeing a bid package. So when we begin if we change the tone and then go after them, on the next project or the big project, then we have to say, look, we tried to do this a certain way, and you guys just, clearly, that didn't work. So you put us in a position of having to do other things. So it is a little bit of a test for them. And
I remain open-minded but just kind of reading the room, it seems like it's, the absolute minimum. I don't know. To me, it seems as if they wanted to do the absolute minimum, it would be to at least encourage union crafts on this project, but it doesn't seem like they're willing to even commit to that right now. And to his credit, I mean, he's saying everything. He is being transparent about it. So it's hard to get behind it with what I'm hearing right now. But and maybe he's rolling the dice and saying, there's a good chance our contractors end up on this project, and then he's got a selling point for himself later on the other projects, right? But if it doesn't, it's, hey, I told you so kind of thing.
Yeah, we know if a couple of these non-unions get it, there's no way in hell you guys are going to be on it. W. Butler's not going to.
Butlers no, yeah.
For example.
Well, and this
It's
is
weird though, because Butler, remember that job in San Carlos?
SVM, they did have SVM out there. Yeah.
Which I was surprised. I went in there and I saw our guys there. I was like, wow, this is
what? Yay.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
That was like the first ever, I think.
Yeah. And that's something too we might want to go after is a meeting with Butler, the principal. I know that there was some bad blood with the building trades, but on a more
Scott, there's bad blood because John knows, Dalrymple knows, but we've been dealing with them a lot for Costco throughout the Bay Area.
Yeah, okay. I had a call with their CEO once or twice.
So really quick, I put in the link. This is that project that we're talking about. Can you guys all please get John Dalrymple is going to be our kind of our point person now, right? So I think if you guys can all get as many contractors as you can that would bid on this project with like contractor information, the estimator, CSLB license number, the phone number, point person, and get that to John Dalrymple, so then he could reply to the email chain, and it puts him on notice. Like it puts some pressure. Hey, we're trying to do our part, and we can still intervene on these other projects if need be. But can you guys all do that? Like sprinkler fitters?
What exactly are you asking there, Mike? I'm sorry, just to reach out to our contractors.
Usually we send a list of contractors.
Yeah.
With who is the point person that they should send a package to.
Yeah, I got you.
And that way, the email, it could be email, or email and phone. It's just that we don't want to. Sometimes the excuse they use is, oh, we send it to somebody, and it could be some fucking email that's 10 years old, so we just make sure they have the latest person.
Yeah.
But
And
it's,
then are we concerned about the types of work we have, residential, right? And we have commercial.
well, that's why we're only talking about, so if you click on the link in the chat, this
Okay.
project we're talking about was just the 42,000 ground floor retail, restaurant, and office uses. There's no residential in this project, so it's just kind of a full commercial project.
It was
Okay.
very efficient, Michael.
41,000 square feet, right? So, so everyone knows this should be our building trades guys should be able to come in there, but it would be probably a smaller contractor, right? It's not like the biggest project, so you're gonna need kind of need your more hungrier people. You guys all have those, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
we do.
Yeah, we could take this this snapshot, what you just sent, and send it to I don't know, 15 of our contractors, 104, and just say, hey, reply back if you think you want to bid on this with the person, and we'll get that list. And
yeah, that makes it.
I just did something similar to this with that job in Redwood City, that big one. Remember that John, you tipped us off on it. That one in 1800. Wait, trying to think where it was. We just got it earlier this week. Redwood City project, and I got that out to our contractors and got a couple of responses. Thanks, look into it. I mean, it's a ways down the line, but
this project's bidding right now, and I think it's just if you already know, Anthony, the ones that would bid, it's just as easy just to send the link, and you can give them a heads up too, right? But please send that to John Dalrymple. Max, you have John Dalrymple's information, and that way John Dalrymple can reply as the group and to that email chain.
I'm just going to forward. If you send me an email, I'm just going to forward it to which one. I guess it's I don't have their emails, Michael. So
they're on the email chain. Jake and Kevin.
Yeah, I just forwarded to Kevin, Jake and Kevin, saying here's this person, here's this group, here's the next group. I'll send it. I'm not going to one email. I'll just forward.
And what would you rather have?
I think it's fine if they send it to them directly.
Okay.
So part of the thing here is, it's really your relationships with these folks, right? I mean, you speak the language better than I do, right? So I think it's fine if Michael, if they just send it directly. Sure. I think it'd be good to CC me on when you send it, though. I'd appreciate that, because I try to keep track to make sure everything happened. But ultimately, you guys are the primary, the relationship. So on this, that'd be my suggestion.
That makes sense. Does it?
And that way I can nag Tony. Tony, where the fuck is the list?
So, question for you guys. So maybe I should know this already, but based on this process, this is kind of the pre-con, but they're getting pricing early, right, from that to see
what they
finalized.
What they try to do, because they mentioned they have their stakeholders, right? So what they're trying to do is get the best information possible, so that to confirm the performance that they're putting out there for folks, in terms of returns and so on. So what they try to do is, at this point, even though it's just for they'll check during the process a couple of different times, about what is it going to cost to do this project, and then what are the returns. We're not even going to hear about that stuff, right? But they'll do that, and this is just another way for them to do that assessment. So
they'll likely reach out for some budget numbers, which is not a real heavy lift for our contractors. Now the other question is,
one thing, Scott, is right now that the GC, they're looking for bids for one of our subs to help them through the pre-con process. So that's like the design build, right? And like the layout and off the engineer drawings. Hey, this is what. So a lot of times what happens is, even if the GC does not get selected, just like what Jake was saying, the second round, the subcontractors who are very in tune with the job will still provide pricing to the bigger spool of GCs on the one that actually goes out for a GMP. So that's why it's important to have our guys on the design build process, and this is that time.
Got it.
Michael,
And then-
oh, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Again, I'm not sure. Is this prevailing wage? Is this with the city? No, this is not the garage, right? That was bespoke. Is the
Yeah.
only one that had that. So this
This
is
is-
completely private.
Yeah, it's just a 41,000 square foot building
Yeah.
office. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the one that we wanted. Hey, this is not worth for us trying to intervene on it.
Right.
It's not worth the money, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah,
So we're-
you have a good point though, Scott. I mean, I don't know, Michael, if we checked on the affordable, if that's going to be prevailing wage.
Yes, from our understanding, the prevailing wage, not on this project that we're talking about getting
Yeah,
contractors.
the next small project.
The next
Yeah,
one, at least affordable housing piece is supposed to be prevailing wage.
That's helpful.
Okay.
Hey, Michael, when he says stakeholders, other than Prometheus, do we know what he's referring to? I imagine his financial, whatever his capital is coming from.
I think it's just Prometheus is what he's referring to, unless
Do we
there's
have an
another.
understanding of who's the ultimate play caller, and my thinking is Prometheus either has to check off, on any kind of agreement, right? So, has their role been mentioned by Harvester at all?
That my understanding is that they are the financial backers to this project, Prometheus.
Okay.
So in the end, they would be final sign off, I guess.
Yeah, they'd have to approve the agreement, probably. So I don't, have we done any outreach to Prometheus on any of this yet?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
So I guess we can break, but we'll all see John in person next Wednesday at the Sheet Metal Hall. He's going to work on taking the agenda, so that'll be good, and we're happy to see John.
I hope to have an agenda to you by Monday morning at some time.
Hey, John, we're not in San Francisco anymore. Just,
Yeah, I know the meeting's in South San Francisco.
That's the new office.
I can't recall. I don't think.
you haven't been there yet.
I haven't been there yet. You sure? When did you move there?
About a year. Last year.
Okay, well, I haven't moved there then.
Maybe a year and a half.
Did they give you your own office, or you got to share you're in the lobby here?
Yeah, we have our own office. All ours.
All right.
So just what do you guys think is reasonable? Maybe by Monday, they get the list of contractors to Jake and Kevin and CC John.
It is 11 o'clock Friday, so I think probably if we got it into Tuesday noonish, I think that'd be fine.
Cool.
Because I don't know how easy. Sometimes it takes checking to see who
You're basically looking for the person who's in charge of bid solicitation at each company that we think that,
would bid this project.
SDM, whoever at Air Systems. I'm just rattling off some ones that I know that were, those people. Okay, cool.
Yes, because this is only 41,000 square feet, so I would say more smaller contractors too, like that would want to go after that.
You think it's just a contact that's aware of this project, and it's not going to fall on deaf ears when a solicitation comes through?
Yeah, well, I plan on notifying them in advance, just like I did for that Redwood City project. And then whoever I notify, I'll give that list to John.
You're gonna send it. You're gonna send it directly and CC me. Send it to those two guys.
Okay.
Oh, so we'll send it to them directly.
Yes, and then CC me.
You don't see value in maybe consolidating that so that they're not trying to herd the cat, so to speak. Just have one clean list.
I guess on some level it would be easier. I guess the thing about it is that, again, it's like if there's any questions about it, I want them to sort of know who the player is. Like Scott, so if they have if whoever GC they send this to, and if they have a question about any of those folks, they know that you're the guy. I guess what could be put into a document like that. I mean, this is how we've typically done it. It seemed to work. So
whatever you think is.
Yeah. So I think it'll work.
I think it's just important to make sure you CC John on your email.
Okay.
And obviously, Mark or for you, right? Or you know,
Yeah.
your whole 104 team, right? Well, Anthony will send CC Tom and myself and
Well,
CC
yeah,
John.
technically, I mean, Tom's not here. He would be doing this, but he's not here right now. He'll be back Monday, but I can get the ball rolling for him, you know, and assist,
Sure.
right? So teamwork.
Cool.
All right, guys. I think
All right,
that's
guys, gotta
good.
run
Take
myself.
care. Bye.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Glad to see
Good to see you
faces.
again.
Take
Bye.
Good meeting you, John.
Bye.